I was on 2 years. That was in the car when I was driving.
Okay. So I'm Gary Dewey, AB2GD. I was gonna give this talk about APRS because I think APRS is cool, and maybe by the end of this, you'll think it's cool also. So let me see here. So what is APRS? It's the Automatic Packet Reporting System. It used to be position, but it's so much more than position now. So it's a communication system that uses real-time digital information that you can transmit locally, but also you can do it over the internet as well. We'll get to that. It's based on AX.25 protocol, which is packet radio. Oops, my bad. And it's a sound-based mode, so it makes a tonish kind of sound when you hear a packet go. And we'll listen to that too in a little bit. So yeah, do you need the internet? You don't really technically need the internet for APRS, but it helps out with something called an iGate. So we actually have an iGate here at Copernic. So it's listening on this frequency, 144.39 is the frequency for United States for APRS. So it's listening on that and it's connected to the internet on the back end. So when it hears packets come in from other stations, it actually transfers those to the internet.
Where do they go from there?
And where do they go from there? So if there's a station that's just on RF, it will try to find a station that's near there, a digipeater is called. It will try to find one near there to send it out and ship that packet to that station that's remote, which is pretty cool. So that's the digipeater. That's what we're talking about too. So a digipeater and iGate are not necessarily the same thing, but what we have here is an iGate, and the digipeater is rolled into one. So you could have a digipeater without an iGate though. So if I just had like a little box with me out there in the woods somewhere, I could digipede packets without the internet. Which basically means my radio would hear these packets and then it would send them off too. And it does that using this thing called wide, which is the path of the packet. If you know about the internet at all, there's something called the IP protocol. And in the internet protocol, there is something called time to live. And so packets on the internet have something called a time to live. And the reason for that is so that you don't want packets just bouncing around all the time. So each time the packet makes a hop, it takes one off of its time to live. So let's say, for example, you could say, wide 2-1, right? That would be your path. So that means it's going to go to 2 digipeaters, and then after 2, it's dead. It's not going to repeat anymore. So that's like the time to live. So on the internet, we have a similar thing. So that way you don't have this traffic just constantly bouncing around. And it's the same with the APRS network, which it is basically a network. It is when you get right down to it. So there's 2 types of these digipeaters. There's the wide one. That's what we have here. We have a wide digipeater here. So that means we can we take in packets and then we broadcast them out pretty far, right? Based on how high the antenna is and whatnot, and the power of the station too. You can have this fill-in digipeater too, though. So that's more along the lines, right? Like the portable, like if I just take this out to the woods with me and I want to digipede packets of anybody that's nearby, I could do that. Because sometimes transmitters for APRS don't have to be high power. So this is an example here. This is a transmitter. This is a GPS right here, and then this little board.
Oh, that one changed.
Oh, okay. They can't see it.
Yeah, well,
right?
I just got that. Yeah, I gotta say you can see what they can see.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
Oh, okay, gotcha. So this little board has a built-in radio on the back of it, a chip. It's only 2 watts, but this is what we would use to track like a balloon, a legitimate weather balloon and not some kind of spy balloon. But I gotta say, when I heard about that, I figured they were doing signal intelligence because that's what I would do. And I'm pretty sure they were.
So is that little thing a digipeater?
So no, this little thing is a transmitter.
Just
So
trans-
yeah, so it gets coordinates from the GPS, and then there's actually a little microchip on here. So it parses the GPS language, right? And it puts it into a packet format, and then the radio just ships it off at 2 watts. It says, "Here I am." And then hopefully we got stations on the ground, right, that are listening into that frequency.
Especially when you're that high in the air.
Yeah, oh yeah, it can reach really far. So we've had, where's the furthest we got?
So, yeah, Copernicus, balloon- one of Copernicus balloon programs, we got up to about 105,000 feet. They're just close to 20 miles, and one of the stations that picked this up was in Ottawa, Canada.
Canada, yeah. So it can probably pretty far. And so that's another reason why you need to use, right, this wide system, the time to live system, because then if you're way up high and you're shooting all these packets down all the time, it's going to congest the network.
So it's still recorded.
What? Yeah, we're still recording, yeah.
So that's a little tracker. This is kind of the same thing, but you hook in a GPS to it, and then you hook your radio to the other end, and it'll transmit out. This is by a company called Bionics. Yeah, they make some cool stuff.
So what are you talking about price, Bill? Thing in the yellow and then.
So this was I think it was around $100, and then the GPS is like 30, so it's like 130. But the thing is with the GPS is it's normal GPS cuts out after a certain height. I believe it's like 20 or 30,000 feet. So you need to get a special GPS to get continue to get readings after you go above that height. So they sell this high altitude version for a little more expensive. Okay. All right, so what can you do with APRS, right? So yeah, we mentioned you can track things, their location.
This is cool.
So this is APRS.5. This is a website where a lot of things that are eye-gated, it'll go to this website, it'll go to those servers, so you can see things in our area here. Oh,
Where are we?
we are
By the border. Right there.
right there. And you can see we have a digipeater here. That's this guy. And it's also an eye gate. And then you can see my little rig there that's up front here. He's actually transmitting. And yeah, really funny. He got digipeated by the station that's right back there.
Mike, yeah, let me just stop the share and go share the screen, because I think they were not seeing the
Oh, gotcha.
share the screen.
Share what's-
And now you guys on the live stream should be able to see the APRS map, yeah. So if you zoom right in,
And it's pretty good location wise. GPS nowadays is pretty good. I'd say you could get within 30 feet pretty easily with the GPS nowadays.
Well, sometimes I've turned this on in the morning and I see Drew.
Right, yeah.
my car is the I got the FTN 400, and I have the APRS modem, so people can track me,
Okay.
and you can even find out how fast I'm going.
Right. You might want to turn that off. Oh, no. Just kidding. You can put comments in here. Yeah, like if you're listening on a frequency, you could say what frequency you're listening on, which is cool, so people can find you.
Which just a lot of ham radio weather balloons that get launched that'll publish that stuff. But it's actually, if you're just, I think APRS might even have a thing for it, but you can track that and you can see what comments, which is usually like the battery voltage, altitude, stuff like that, that'll tell you.
Right. Oh yeah, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, when Copernic does theirs, I follow. them. You can
Yeah,
see
what
how
is
they
your
-1.
-1?
Oh, you mean the
The
balloon?
balloon,
Oh, that's
yeah.
-9.
-9.
Yeah. Yeah, you have
I
L2
don't
zero.
know. Should we?
Yeah.
Oh. K2 9.
Right. But again, you have to look at,
Oh, yeah.
we haven't launched it in 2 years, a
Yeah.
year and a half.
You can do
Yeah.
my call sign,
What?
my call sign.
Right.
We could do that if
It's
you
not the
want.
same as the weather balloon. AD2YGL-7
Y,
GL
YGL,
-7.
-7. Hey, there you are,
Oh, nice.
And if you,
right next to me.
Is your handy talkie broadcasting that?
every 3 minutes,
Yeah,
Okay.
My Yasu will do it too.
and I forget how to view it, you can also see my trip here too.
It should turn
Yeah,
out-
you could do it, the track the last 2 hours.
Well, it's just broadcasting on the analog APRS frequency, so he happens to be the closest here, here, I can see my link right there.
There you go.
So the closest I get, which is this one right here.
Yeah, but when I'm down in Johnson City, this one's not gonna pick it up.
Right.
and it's not like exact, like it won't show you exactly on the road, right? Cause it's, each point is where it sends out a packet.
So if I was streaming continuously going down the road, it would be a little more liney, but that's, you can also tell where it didn't pick up any signal as I was going over the hills and whatnot, because this was just sitting in my car, so. It was a little bit
Isn't it? Yeah.
And all of a sudden, the thing started beeping at me like that.
Alright, so let's,
I might have
No, you can just go back to, yeah.
But
Yeah,
also,
yeah.
you can either get radios that'll do it.
Mine, and I don't know where it went up and it never landed.
So, all right, we have,
Back in to get started.
there's also, you can also track the weather. There's a lot of weather stations that actually will transmit
Over the internet.
their
Websites
data
like that.
to the network. So here you go, you can see this guy here, the temperature is 56 right now. Or when this was reported, which is 13, 14. Right,
This is
no,
somebody's-
28, 820.
This is somebody's home station that's hooked up to a radio?
The
Yeah,
CWAP,
yeah.
the CWAP, it's not connected to the radio, it just somehow it seems to report on the APRS as FI. There's actually, our weather station here at Copernic does the same thing. You can go to Copernic and there is a CWAP station. It's an acronym for-
Weather operator.
Yeah, but I mean-
Observation, civil weather observation.
Is it simply sending this on the internet or
Yeah,
on
on
the
the
radio?
internet.
Oh, this is purely on, oh, okay.
But I don't know why the weather stations,
But they can get distributed. Yeah, you're the one that got distributed.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but now some of the hams actually do have,
Yeah. And then it helps.
Yeah.
Then everybody, oh, what's it doing there?
So there's multiple different things you can do with APRS, the most
No,
common is usually.
interesting, I'm not,
At
oh,
least two, I just haven't got.
Gary?
Yeah,
This is APRS.fi.
yes, yeah, that's correct. APRS.fi. There's another one called Find You, which will do kind of similar thing. But APRS-FI is like the big one that everybody goes to.
someone tells me that my weather station is off the air, I gotta go figure that out.
Why is there a whole bunch of weather stations that are just on the internet on this like radio related website? I don't understand.
Because they are weather stations, they're also receiving APRS packets usually. So not only are they giving you the information, like there's one in Johnson City by the roundabout that does weather, but it also is what usually catches my APRS packets. It is the closest to-
to do what with it?
You can do location tracking, obviously, you can send text messages, and I forget, there's some other like interesting things you
Well,
can
Gary's
do.
probably getting to this, right?
Yeah, there's a lot more you can do with APRS than just location.
Go ahead. Go back to, yeah, there.
So yeah, we could do weather. Yeah, you could do messaging. So yeah, call sign to call sign. You can do messaging, like texting kind of in a way. They have these things called bulletins. So You'll see that on APRS Pi also. So it's kind of like announcements, like almost like a bulletin board kind of thing. Which is pretty neat.
Can you zoom in so we can see some of it?
Yeah.
Alt and screen, print screen. I mean, alt and scroll.
Yeah, usually.
What do you need for, an
Try to
interface?
control. Try to control.
TNC control.
What do you need for an interface to control your rig?
So, yeah, usually you need a TNC, a terminal node controller.
But it's not a packet TNC, it's an APRS.
You could use a packet TNC.
If it's got the upgrade, they'll do the APRS. Some of the old KPC threes and what have you, they'll,
Yeah.
with the upgrade, will,
One here, actually, yeah. That's the Cantronics Packet Communicator 3. It'll do APRS, but it'll do other things too. Like it has something called a bulletin board system, which is really neat.
That's probably.
Yes, which is probably, yeah, it's old system, yeah, but I think it might come back. I don't know, because I think young guys or young people like to know how things work or how they used to work. And so like, I don't know, I'm really fascinated by the bulletin board system. I think it's really cool.
That's what we had back in 1984. A bunch of us in the club had terminal node controllers hooked to our TRS-80, our Commodore 64.
We had one in BU,
Whatever,
a huge one.
and then we tied it to BU and it networked, but you could type and put it on the bulletin board and then another hand could read it.
Right, right.
You could send a message, read a list the messages.
that was before email.
Yeah, long in 1980, you know, it was, and we were communicating all over New York State and even further once it got tied into BU and went over there.
Yeah. There is
We had
a
what was called a wormhole at that time
Yeah,
to get you into the internet.
yeah.
There's a packet system, yeah, like in New York State. I forget where the backbone goes, but I think Oneana is involved in that. And every year they run some kind of drill where they try to pass traffic up through the nodes.
You know, Cortland was one of the big ones that used to be, I don't know where they still are or not, but.
We were
Cause I
connected.
know they always wanted us to have one down here because they needed something to get down into Pennsylvania, but.
Yeah, which we do hit Pennsylvania pretty good.
The biggest thing we found out is packet didn't, work good around repeaters.
Oh, okay. So this little guy here is a Raspberry Pi. This board on top is a TNC Pi is what it's called. So that's effectively your interface, right? So you can plug into your rig through the serial port here. And then it'll intercept the tones and it'll also send them, it'll generate tones to your rig. So I don't know how much this is right now. I think it went up in price though, because MFJ bought them. Yeah, it used to be Coastal Chipworks was the company. It was a really small company and yeah, they got bought out. So I think I paid like $40 maybe for it, and now I think it's a lot more. Same with this guy. I got this TNC-X back when it was the other company. This is also a TNC. And so it just connects right into my radio, right? So it can send and receive packets. And I think, yeah, MFJ bought this too. And I want to say this is like $150 now or something. But I think it was like 50 when I bought it or something like that.
So some radios have that built in already?
So some radios have an interface. So I actually have like an accessory port back here. So the TNC plugs into the accessory port, right? So the audio is pumped through there automatically. It also controls the keying, so it'll key up the transmitter automatically before it generates a tone. And right now this has it has Bluetooth in it. So right now it's actually connected to my phone.
How support works. I just looked it up. The MFJ 1270 Pi Raspberry Pi hat, which is the hardware thing that sits on top of a Raspberry Pi, it's $100.
Yeah, so they jacked up that price, I'm pretty sure.
Right.
So yeah, I am connected right now with my phone there's this app called APRS Droid. It's a really cool app. And you can do all the things we've already mentioned. You can do messaging through here. It's got a map. You can see where things are, which is pretty cool.
When you say messaging, you just mean sending a message to another ham, right?
Not necessarily, and we'll get to that. There's other things you can do. So yeah, let me roll back through here. Get to that messaging. So you can send an email through APRS, which is pretty cool.
I got some email from you.
Oh, yeah. So all you have to do is, let me see here. You send a message to this call sign email, and how do I get this so everybody can see it?
To see what's on your,
Yeah.
Oh.
Is there,
we have to stop sharing,
okay.
and then, I don't know that I can, probably the best thing I can do would be to have you just hold it up here.
Okay. So we'll send a message to email. And then who should we send it to?
ddesker@gmail.
Oh, sorry. That's gmail.com.
Yeah.
I figured that, okay. Desker. Is it RR?
DESKUR@gmail.com. Double D.
.com.
Yeah.
All right. Oh yeah, can you guys see that? All right. I'm just gonna say test hi. All right, so. And that should key up that rig, and then it's gonna contact that iGate. And then if you see here, it says it sent an email to ddesker@gmail.com.
I'm waiting.
Yeah, yeah. It's
Patiently.
it's gotta come all the way back through. So technically, I did this without the internet, right? Except for right there, the guy that's listening in back of us is on the internet, so. So it sends it to this server, which then that's a service they'll send it. And you can send it to any email. There's one called email 2 that'll let you have shortcuts. So you could define the email addresses and you could just say @Joe or whatever, and then it would remember Joe's email address and would be easier. You are confined to like a limited number of characters, but I think.
Oh, shucks, I could time that one out too.
Yeah, 67.
All right, let me
That one. Oh,
That's
okay.
right. Right, and we'll go back to. There you go.
All right, so that's email. So you can send email through APRS, which is cool. So if I was like out in the woods somewhere and I didn't have any cellular service, I could still send an email if there's a digipeater and or iGate nearby. Which luckily the network is pretty good actually. There's not too many places where you can't get repeated, which is funny enough. But in those situations, then it is difficult. So like with the high altitude balloon, when it's coming down, it's reaching out less and less, right? Because of the altitude. So once it gets to a certain point, it's still going to send packets out, but it's on the ground. And so it's very limited, especially with like 2 watts or however many watts it is. So it helps. What we did actually was, I took this rig out actually with my phone and went portable with it, and so we could actually hear the balloon when it was on the ground, and then it would show up on the map, and then we could just try to walk to it, which worked out pretty well.
They did.
I followed that balloon on the,
Yeah.
that's when you did.
Hey,
That was pretty
Drew, the
neat.
time when you were down on Middletown, Was this site here in the balloon? Or were?
It was hearing it for a while, but then when at some point it went below the horizon. So we were having to use other digipeters and, you know, other eye gates that were down near Port Jervis.
Okay,
to
all
pick
right.
that up.
I remember that one.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Rick,
Yeah, could you, I guess I'm not quite clear, how you're sending a text from your phone and it's getting into the radio?
No, he's using an app.
I'm using an app on my phone that sends it through the radio, which then sends it to the iGate, which then sends it to some other server, and then it will send it to the recipient.
Bluetooth.
Right now, I'm talking Bluetooth with that guy right now. But it could be, they do sell a little cable, for Baofangs that'll hook into a Baofeng and hook into your phone. If you still have a headphone jack, and it works really well, actually. It's cheap too. It's like, I think it's like a $20 cable. And, I meant to bring one tonight, but I moved in December, and so I forgot where I put mine. And, so yeah, that's the demo gods, right? Like, of course, I was gonna do this and I couldn't find it.
But you mentioned if you were out in the woods and
Right.
how would that work?
So if I had that cable for the Baofeng, I could just have a Baofeng in my phone and I just
Okay.
plug it in and then I just type away and have my Baofeng like transmit, right?
I understand.
Yeah.
It actually showed up 5 minutes ago, but it showed up in my junk file. Sorry.
That's okay.
Not,
We can
Stand in?
we can text you too if you want.
anyway, go ahead.
We can try that. Do you want to do that?
No, go ahead.
Or I was just gonna I could do my phone number.
That's fine. Go ahead.
So this is kind of the same way that you do the email, except you do it with a phone number and you do it to this SMS GTE, which is like gateway, right? SMS gateway. You send it to that, and then you send it in the body of your message. You'll send the app phone number and then your text that you want to say. So, all right. If I do this, then everybody can see, right?
An Android phone?
It is an Android.
Is there
So-
an app for the iPhone too?
There's one for listening to APRS, but I haven't found one for generating APRS for some reason. Ooh, and there you go. You see I just got a text message. Whoop. You can't, it's kind of hard to see on here. But you can see, no, you can't see.
It's clear.
Yeah, well, go there. But it's from my call sign. It says at my call sign and then hi. That's what I wrote. So you could do that. So if you were out in the woods, right, or something, you could text somebody, right? Like, I don't know, maybe text your significant other or something and be like, give me some beer when I'm out of the woods or whatever. All right. So let me
Good,
go
good if
back.
you're lost.
Yeah, it is good if you're lost, that's true. Let me go back.
So you could have it beacon, right? You can just set a beacon and then they'll find you.
Yeah, eventually, yeah. Okay, so email sent, we got. So we did that, we can do email, we can do text messaging. You can get weather reports, so if you send a message to this WX bot, whoops, it will actually tell you what the weather is. And my plan was to just demo this stuff. I know it doesn't look as good on this tiny screen though. But I'll do WX bot and I'll do my call sign.
You have a weather station set up at your house, is that what it's pinging?
No, it's gonna try to find what my home location is and then give me the weather based on my home location.
It's not something you can hook up to a trail cam, huh?
So here we go. It says 2 miles, south-southwest Vestal corner, hazardous weather outlook tonight, no, mostly clear, low 40. Oh yeah, it's probably hard to. So that's based on where I am. So it knows I'm in Vestal actually, which is funny. Well, sort of Vestal. But you could send it different things, right? Like what day you want to get the weather for. You could send it a zip code and not a call sign, and it'll give you the weather for that zip code. So this could be handy, again, if you're in the woods, like hiking or whatever, you don't have cell service and you want to know the weather coming up, you could send a message to this weather bot and it would let you know. You can also do this group messaging thing, which I think is really cool. This thing called ANSRBR, and you can send a message to that. And here we go. And there's all these groups. It's kind of like, what's a good way to explain it? Maybe like that email reflector kind of thing. So there's different groups set up. So here's one for rockets. So if you join that one, then anytime somebody says something in that group about rockets, it'll like show up on your app, on your APRS.
Could that be called like a chat room?
Sorta, yeah, kind of like a chat room, yeah, except on radio here.
Facebook without the face.
There you go. Yeah, no Zuckerberg needed.
Yeah.
So yeah, but you can make your own group if you wanted, and then when you send a message to that group, it would go to all the people in the group. So if you had a lot of friends or whatever, and you wanted to make a group, I don't know, called hiking or something, you could add those people to the group, and then whenever you send out a message to that group, it'll go to all the people that like subscribe to it. So yeah, there's like a field day one. There's a whole bunch. This list is definitely outdated, but
Yeah, that's.
let me see here. I could send a message to that guy and see all the groups. L is list groups. And then it's gonna take a minute. I can hear my radio kicking on.
That's it, it's gonna list groups you're a member of.
Yeah, but funny enough, it says I'm not a member of any group. That's funny. D, if I send a D, I think that'll send all the groups. Well, that's gonna take a little bit. Yeah, give me a few. There's a few groups that are listed out.
Gotta get out of the sharing.
All right, so there's a few groups that are listed. But yeah, there's 7 people in that balloon group. That's a fun one to be in. You can be in this ISS group, which will do tell you when passes are coming over too, which is cool. Oh, I just got a whole bunch. Here they go. All the groups. There's a bunch of groups. All right. So that's like group messaging, which is pretty cool.
Did you just send APRS over your radio?
Yes.
Okay. So I was trying to help him set up APRS, and it lit up green for really long, and I was like, what?
Yeah, because my response back was all those groups, so I got a lot of
Gotcha.
traffic back to me, sent back to me. That's why.
Okay, so this is totally from your phone by Bluetooth to your radio.
Right.
It has nothing to do with internet or
Right. Yeah.
cell communication or anything.
Right, not,
It's a little confusing.
it is a little confusing because you can bridge that gap, you can bridge those networks. But technically, if you wanted to, you could even switch it up and do some other frequency. And then have your buddy on some other frequency, and you could just APRS back and forth without anybody else bothering anybody else, right? But pick a good frequency, right?
But otherwise, everything's all on one frequency.
Everything's on 14439,
Are
yeah.
all these APRS state radios not or clashing with each other?
That's a good point. They do clash. So sometimes, you'll send a message or a request and it won't get taken. You might have to send it again. Just
It'll
because,
bounce back.
well, there's those collisions, right? For, if the iGate's listening to some other station while you're trying to transmit to, it's whoever gets there first, right?
So
Like,
your app will tell you that it didn't get through.
yeah, it tells you if you've got digipeated, which is getting through. Yeah, it does give like a confirmation, which is pretty interesting.
So
Yeah,
you don't
used to
get
be
your
the
So if you don't get the confirmation, keep going.
try again.
Right, try again, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that used to be the problem with the old packet system was, all the clashes, you know.
Well, it's
everything.
similar in nature to the old Ethernet, but you only had a single network, and you would have collisions, and so you'd have to send a packet out, and then you'd have to get what they call an ACK, and that acknowledge.
Right,
And if you didn't get that acknowledge, you'd send it out again.
and that's built into the packet system.
Right.
That AX.25, I'm gonna send you forward a message via you, so I go blat. You hear it and you go blat, but Ford doesn't hear it. I never get the acknowledgement back, so some random time later, I send that again. And I might divide the message into 7 packets, and I send them, and he gets everything but 3, so then I will repeat 3. But it's flat and then flat. It's not continuous.
You will repeat 3 automatically, you'll have to do it, or?
No, it automatically
Okay.
does it in the hardware.
Okay.
So your app there is gonna keep sending till it finally gets through. You don't have to manually keep trying to send it, right?
It depends. If you're impatient, then you can try to send it manually, right?
But the app can handle continually sending until it's finally.
It'll try, yeah, it'll try, I think like maybe 5 times or something. And if it can't go in 5 times, then you'll have to resend.
It's built into the communication protocol. I thought it was 7 times, but.
It might be 7, it might be 7.
That's at the lower level. There's levels of this, 5 levels of communication protocol.
So they have something called the CQ server, which is similar to this group server, and but it just adds you to like a CQ net, I guess. That's really handy for like field day, or if you're out somewhere and you want to see what frequency somebody's on, but also people can just put in their comments what frequency they're on too, right? Which happens. So that's that. Let's see. Oh yeah, here's a fun one. So you can actually look up call signs too while you're there. So let's go ahead and try that. So we'll send a message to who dash is. And who will we look up? Let's look up K2ZRO. Right, so yeah, let me share it quick so you can see this part. So we're gonna send a message to who dash is, and I'm doing an F for full, and then the call sign K2ZRO. And then, so there is the app says it got sent. Oh, and there's a reply back. It says Copernic Observatory and Science Center, 698 Underwood Road, Vestal, New York. There you go, you can actually see that.
Wow.
So, but potentially, right, again, if you're on a POTA or something and you don't have the internet, you can look up where these call signs are if there's a digipeater or an iGate nearby.
Is that where he's registered, or is that where it's telling him where he is right now.
It's where he's registered, so it's pulling the data from the FCC database,
Like yours.
like QRZ, right, yeah. So that's pretty cool.
Hey, Phil, I'd be shocked if it came up Calvary Cemetery, you know?
Yeah. And then, so is there more you can do? Probably, I'm not an expert by any means in this kind of thing, but it is fun to play around and check out, and I just think it's cool seeing all the stations pop up. Here we go, so you can see. So while we've been talking, this is what my radio's been hearing. Which mostly it's hearing from the digipeater / iGate behind us, that's here. So yeah, for all this time, these are stations that we've heard over RF. And it's funny, because some of these stations, right, are like far away.
Yeah.
And so that's the iGate portion, right? So like, so the packet came along the internet, and then because we're here not on the internet, but it got digipeated from the system behind us and then into my radio here.
Are those mostly location reports or messages or?
Just beacons.
They're beacons, yeah. Like you can put a message in there.
What does that mean? They're just saying, I'm here?
Right, yeah, they're just sending out a message that's with their GPS coordinates, but then also like any kind of comments that they have in there. Whoops.
Yeah. Okay, I was gonna. Okay, I'll stop sharing so you can show people that. Sorry.
That's okay. What were you gonna?
I was
show?
gonna do, like if you go to APRS, I'll go back to it again. Right. So like, Copernic, if you go in here and you, go to the, Copernic Digigate, you know, every 15 minutes, we put out a beacon, and it says iGate Digipeater at Copernic Observatory. So that's what I send out through the Raspberry Pi iGate that we've got sitting behind here. Then you go, but what also is neat is Ed, you were saying that you could watch me go to work. You can watch, you know, you can watch all sorts of people. And you'll see a trail. Let me see if I can find. So W2GPR, that's actually the guy that I talked to on through the ISS repeater. And a
lot of weather.
Sometimes you can also find balloons that are flying by. See that just. And then if you go to, if you actually go to Europe, there's always a lot of balloons floating around. For some reason, they do a lot of that in Europe.
Is there a key on this map somewhere as to what all these different symbols are?
Station, I think there is, well, here's the,
Touch them and it tells you who it is.
User
Yeah, but just
guide.
at a glance, I see a bunch of different symbols. It's a
Well,
map.
here's the guy walking, here's the house.
Yeah, the blue WX are weather.
Like a diamond R or a diamond D or a
The
circle
red,
D.
the red.
I don't know what these things are. I have to click on each one to find out what it is. There should be a key.
Well, there's an issue, like there are like standard symbols, but then not everybody uses them. So that's like an issue that could happen. So like, just because it says WX and it's blue doesn't mean it's weather. I could use that symbol too in my station if I wanted to. There's no rule that says I can't. And like, so yeah, it's kind of confusing.
Yeah.
But usually the green star is a digipeater, And then the black diamond with an I means eye gate usually. And then sometimes people will put fun stuff like there's a car one you can do. There's a whole bunch of symbols.
I'm pretty sure there is it's either in the FAQs or something like that, that there's gotta be a listing of what all those,
You can also just Google APRS.
yeah.
He's a diamond. This guy just appeared. What is this one? AB2GD. He's on the phone. This guy's on the phone. As they send out a packet, it gets added to the mail. And like here, we send out every 15 minutes and it'll get added.
Yeah, you want to, go to Copernicus. Thing.
Yeah, okay.
Just for fun.
I hope that will work with Apple equipment.
Yeah, it does. This is watch APRS.
And then go to info for me.
Oh, okay.
But receive
You
only,
can
right?
see them. Yeah, there's APRS FI app for the iPhone that does everything. But it's down there.
Oh, okay.
It's the official app, APRS.fi.
Again, so here's our beacon,
They're buying all these.
and then
Yeah.
when you look down here, it says, current stations near us, you know, a lot of weather stations. There's
Morning cup of coffee.
There's
stations there, right there. But then these are stations which Copernic heard.
Yeah, on the radio.
Right. 83O is out in Sayre. Every once in a while I hear the station up at RIT. My alma mater. And then other stations that have heard us.
A desktop computer will do it for free too, just.
One thing, if I'm in the woods and I want to text my wife, if I had that app and Baofeng
Right,
No.
yeah.
TNC.
Well.
in the
if you
woods, I'm gonna carry that thing.
Well,
around?
you need that cord, yeah, the $20 cord from Amazon for your Baofeng and then your phone.
I don't
And
want
then-
to carry a TNC around me hiking in the woods. So.
Yeah, you don't have to, if you get that cord,
Uh-huh.
then you can just plug right into your phone and then you just use Box on the Baofeng.
Mhm.
Or it's really clever push to talk to.
Right, yeah, I just use Box and it works.
Well, there's no cell service, I take it.
Well, you don't need it. That's the whole point, right?
Right, yeah,
but I'm
that's
in
the whole
woods, there's
point.
cell service,
Okay.
but I don't know if this, if I'm gonna be able to hit an eye gate either.
It depends, if you're hiking like in a mountainous area,
Yeah.
you probably, at the top, you're gonna hit
Oh.
some eye gates.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Just gotta get to the top of the hill.
just gotta. Yeah,
Or at least get an antenna up there, get a crossbow and just.
Yeah, don't get lost in the bottom of the valley.
I'm not carrying a crossbow.
No.
I can do it.
But this is the year though, they'll have. This year they'll have cell service everywhere thanks to Starlink. It's got 80 countries covered completely.
But you have to use it, it's not cell service, it's a satellite radio service
Right, but you can do messaging now over it.
from my phone.
Yeah, what is it?
Not yet. They're introducing that.
Yeah, they're introducing
Yeah,
it.
it's
and,
not available yet. Coming soon.
Is that part of the stuff that Elon Musk is doing, or is that somebody else?
No, it's a Apple.
Oh, okay.
Starlink. is on.
Starlink? Yeah, that's Elon.
Elon Musk,
Yeah.
Starlink, with T-Mobile.
Hmm.
T-Mobile phones will be able to talk over by the end of the year.
Apple's developing their own system for the iPhone 12, I think, it's gonna come out.
All right, so,
Because there's guys now that go anywhere and have cell
Sure.
service.
Oh, yeah, the packets, yeah,
Pizza
I was gonna
size
have to
dish,
show
you set
that.
it up and you're in Starlink, you've got
Hmm.
high-speed internet service anyway.
all right, so this is packets from one of our weather balloon projects. So it gave the time. This was, HZRO was the transmitting with the balloon.
Yeah.
And these were the various stations that were hearing us. And obviously we had a misspell in the Copernic space program. I'm trying to think here, if we go to,
And you see the ones with a 2 and then there's ones that are 2-1, so that's your time to live kind of thing happening.
Mm.
trying to see if I can find the, the other thing it'll do is it'll also tell you in this case, the 4146.14 is north latitude, and 751561 is the longitude. And then this is meters, I mean, this is altitude in feet. And so we keep going up, you can see going up 70, 80,000, 90,000 feet. And I lost it at this point. It's maybe an incomplete packet download. But here we are at 95,000 feet. And that's the GPS receiver. And also the thing about it is it sends it well, in this case, every minute to the packet system. But then if I look,
So
hold on.
Gary, my Yaesu handheld has APRS.
Okay.
If Alan took that out in the woods, would it report automatically?
Yeah, I assume so, as in like where you are, like, does it have GPS built in
Yeah.
too?
Yeah, on top it has a GPS antenna.
Yeah,
Right.
these guys have it built in too. I have one of these Anytones. It's not the newer one, but it's an older one. It could send APRS, but it can't receive APRS, unfortunately.
Mine does both, because I've seen stations appear on it as well.
Oh, see, mine it's a earlier model. They didn't put that in until later, I guess. And I didn't get that for some reason.
I haven't monkeyed with it too much, but I'll have to start now.
But I know, yeah, mine I can send, it has a GPS and I can send APRS automatically like every so often or whatever, which is cool.
But it's just,
So-
when I first got it, I was taking it and I hit the APRS and it's showing me who's nearby and how far away they
Yeah.
are and.
Right, yeah, that's what this app does too.
Nice,
It's
yeah. And I'm thinking if you go hiking in the woods, that might work.
Right, and there's a
Yeah.
map, you can switch
If
on
it
a
can
map.
hit another
Yeah.
station though, you gotta hit another station though.
Right.
Right,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
the thing.
Right.
There's a ton of stations though, there really is a lot.
Yeah, if I leave mine on, it repeats.
Here are that list of packets from our first balloon launch. And here's that at our maximum altitude, 105,000 feet. And the station that heard us was VE3DBQ up in Ottawa.
Do you find my on my phone and see where people are?
I played with this a little bit, not very much.
This is called Find Them. That shows where people are.
Yeah.
Is there any more that you want to talk about, or you-
Lost that.
Yeah,
So I'm still getting in groups, 'cause
yeah.
there's a lot of groups. I'm on the S's
That's where
now.
my wife is. They can see where my son is. They can see where I am.
I think that's pretty much it, yeah, I don't know, there's probably a lot more you can do, I know people are looking at things all the time, trying to make new things or figure things out, or
There's
get
where my
on
son
back of
is.
things.
My sister-in-law.
So, I don't know, is there any like questions?
Consider asking.
That covers it. That's true. Thanks, Gary.
All right, thank you much, Gary.
All right.
All right, we'll stop the recording.